What's going on, YouTube world? This is your guy, Sealz the man. Thank you for coming back on this beautiful evening. And today I'm going to talk about something important, as I always talk about, when it comes to understanding the mind of good men, decent men. And that is the things that we keep private from you. I'm not even talking about no sneaky stuff. You know, we talk about all positivity on this channel, real stuff that actually matters. You ain't getting no VH1, Zeus, ratchetivity type of sneakiness. What I'm talking about is our private things that we hold close to us and don't want to expose to you because of the possible consequences or what could happen if we were to tell you, right? So the first thing I'm going to talk about that a lot of men keep private is when we don't have it figured all out. Because like we're the ones that's supposed to solve things, right? Take care of things, make things happen. We're supposed to be the protector, the provider. We're supposed to look out for our loved ones, right? That is not a perfect process. And most times we struggle in the simplest of things and trying to find a solution in the simplest of issues, let alone the big issues. But when it's all said and done, we have to figure it out. But in figuring it out, a lot of times we don't have it figured out. And it is embarrassing. Yeah. It's embarrassing to not know what to do. Some things demand quickness and assertiveness and fast action. And sometimes we don't know how to react or respond in those situations. Yes, maybe we'll figure it out eventually, but in that eventual process, it is tricky because we have to make sure that we figure it out. And that is the reason why we hold that private a lot of times, because we feel like a failure. We understand we're going to figure it out, but because we don't know what to do right now, we feel like a current failure. So a lot of men will take that, keep that, and hold that private and not want to expose that to you because we don't want you to worry. Because if you worry, that makes us look bad. So straight off the rip, a lot of men who don't have things figured out will keep that private from you. The second thing that a lot of men keep private from you is when we feel a type of way emotionally. Now, we already know, if you've been on this channel, what emotion and how it's correlated to a lot of today's men and older men in their mentality. As we all know, a lot of men were taught to not show emotion. That emotion is a weakness. That only girls should be emotional. We've all heard that, right? And as I've always said, that is not true, that is not valid, and that is stupid and toxic masculinity. And what I also believe is if I, as a man, is feeling emotional about something, I have the right to express it. And if I am in an environment, if I am around people that I cannot express myself emotionally, then I should not be around you. I will find the closest exit. Because if I cannot show myself emotionally, then I cannot show who I truly am and how I truly feel. How can you try to get to know me without knowing my emotions? What makes me tick? What makes me happy? What makes me sad? Those are emotions. And as a man, you should not have to feel like you are a robot. You are a human being. Being emotional is natural. So now that we got that out the way, a lot of men still feel like this. And they will keep it private from you because they don't want to seem less of a man, because of this old thinking of what a man should be or what a man should do or how he should feel, if he should even feel. And I strongly believe that this generation is going to break that. If we're already not breaking it, we're breaking it right now. But there are still men who believe this, who are conditioned to this. And if they feel a type of way about something that you did, something that you said, and they feel an emotion bubbling up that they don't want to expose because they feel like it will make them feel less of a man, whether that is sadness or excitement or anger, they will lock that in and just take it. And the danger to this, especially when it comes to men holding in their emotions, is that it eventually will release. And when it releases, after being kept and bottled in, it will set off like a bomb. That is dangerous to everybody, including that man. Emotions are not meant to be held. They are meant to be expressed. Don't do the opposite of what emotions are supposed to do just to uphold some false narrative of what a man should be. Now, that leads me to my next thing that a lot of men hold private, and this is somewhat related to my last point, and that is when men need to cry. Crying is another thing that needs to happen to be released, to release that pressure on you. Life be lifing. Life adds pressure, life adds stress, and all those things can make a brother want to cry. Let me tell y'all a personal story about myself. My grandfather, aka Pop Pop, passed away in 2017, right? And I decided to speak at his funeral. So I started to read what I wrote down, you know, talking about the personal stories and all the things I've been through with my Pop Pop. I started to get this weird, hot feeling. It was like boiling water. And when you start to see those bubbles rise in the pot, you know it's about to get hot, right? And I started to feel that in my head. And then I started to feel it from my head to my eyes. And my eyes started to water because I was about to cry, right? But the reason why I bring this up is because I forgot what it felt like to cry. In that moment, that was the first time that I cried in over a decade, probably, at least a decade. It was so bad to the point where my eyes were burning because I hadn't cried in such a long time. It felt alien. It felt weird. It felt different. The simple, natural behavior of crying was foreign to me because I believed that crying was a trait of weakness. So in those times that I should have cried, that I wanted to cry, I held it in because I wanted to uphold my strength. In that moment at my papa's funeral, when I started to cry, I realized that I was jacked up, that a lot of the problems that I had in my life at that time was because I was bottling in my emotions. And specifically to this point, my tears. And when you bottle things in, you will jack yourself up. If you're not with someone you can release and be expressive with, show your true self with, then they are an anchor to you. You will never be free. If you cannot be yourself, you will never be free. And I realized I was a slave to myself. I was an anchor to myself because I wanted to keep it private on all the things that I went through in my life, man. All the times I wanted to cry, all the tragedies, the sadness that I've been through, all those times I kept it in because I had a false definition of what a man was supposed to do, what he was supposed to feel, how he was supposed to act when those things happen. And boy, was I so wrong. And I'm not the only one that has done this. There are a lot of men out there who feel like they have to keep it private when they feel like they just need to cry. Woo. The next thing that a lot of men keep private are their financial turbulences. Finance is a big part of providing, of protection even, of being able to do for your loved ones. And as a man, I'm thinking for the fathers out there who have all these sets of eyes looking up at them for guidance, for protection, for fatherhood, for parenthood, for direction. All these eyes, their children, their wives, their mother, whatever, looking up to him to make things happen. And a big part of making things happen in our minds is having the finances, the resources to do so. And if we are struggling with those resources, those finances, then how can we do the things we need to do to provide for y'all? And the way life is right now, the way society is, the way the world is right now, finance is messed up globally. My little world with you, which is all I care about, which means the most to me. How can I tell you that I'm struggling financially? And knowing that it is so important for me to be your man, your father, your brother, your uncle, your guardian, whatever. How can I tell you that? How can I tell you that I don't have it, that I just lost my job, and that we may have to cut down some things, that we might have to move out into a smaller house or even an apartment? How can I tell you these things without feeling less of a man? That is what a lot of men think when it comes to financial turbulence. And they will keep that private from you because, once again, they don't want you to worry. They're going to make it happen behind the scenes. They're going to make it happen by getting 2 more jobs. They're going to make it happen with whatever it takes, or whatever it takes mindset, because they know they have to. We know we have to. As a man, as your man, as the man in your life, you realize the level of importance this means to a man. And because it is such a high importance, not having that important thing is going to make a direct impact to your life. So what a lot of men tend to do, prefer to do, is to not let you know at all. The next interesting thing that a lot of men keep private from you is letting you know that they need and crave your reassurance. Usually when you hear reassurance, it's from the woman's side. Like they need to hear reassurance from their man that everything's okay, that they want to be in a relationship with them. I get that, but it's also on the man's side as well. We need reassurance from our woman. Men often need to feel desired, wanted, needed, admired, appreciated. But from a man's point of view, asking for reassurance from you may seem feminine. A lot of men feel like asking for reassurance is a needy thing, not a masculine thing. And because of this, a lot of men suffer in silence, questioning everything around them, including their relationships, because they are too afraid to ask for reassurance from their woman. And that leads to a whole nother set of problems. So instead, a lot of us will overwork ourselves to show our manliness and our value to you, and why you should be here, and why you should want to be my woman, and why you should want to be in a relationship with me in general. We will overextend ourselves, overwork, over labor in our manly obligations to show our worth. We will flood you with these things to almost force the fact that you need us, that we are worthy, that we are a good man, and a good man to you and our family, whatever the case is with you, instead of just asking for reassurance. Because another thing, when you ask for reassurance, you start to have intelligent conversations, emotional conversations about the things that y'all appreciate about each other, what y'all like about what y'all doing with each other. But he will never know those things unless he asks and makes aware of his craving for your reassurance. And that leads me to my final thing that a lot of men keep private. And that is, a lot of men compare themselves to other men. And if you ask a lot of men if they are jealous, a lot of them will, no, jealous? Me? I ain't jealous of nobody. And while that may be true, there is another side to it where men will look at other men in comparison to themselves. Let me tell y'all something. One of the most awkward conversations or settings, social settings when it comes to men is when there are couples together, right? And say, for instance, outside of this couple, the other couples have men who are doing great things, high-earning professions, doing amazing things in the world and in a society. They're doing things in their lives that's making people in the room say, oh my gosh, that's so cool. You are amazing, including my woman, right? So my woman sees all these other men doing amazing, great things. You visualizing that? But what if I'm not in a place where I desire to be? What if I, as a man, just lost my job? What if I'm going through mental hurdles right now where I'm not able to be at the high caliber that I want to be? Basically, I'm not in the point where I want to be in my life, and I'm hearing all these amazing men doing these amazing things, and my woman is here listening to these other men, and now I'm comparing myself, my accomplishments or lack of, to these other men. So I don't necessarily need to be jealous, but what I am realizing and what I'm aware of is that, wow, they're doing better than me. My girlfriend sees them doing better than me. How does she feel about me? Now, a lot of y'all watching this may say, hey, if you're with the right woman, she's not going to feel that way. And that is true. But that does not change the fact of what that man is feeling on the inside as a man. As I always say, men who are about something always want to be better. They always want to be better than yesterday. They always want to be the best version of themselves to be able to do the things they need to do as a man. There is no slacking. We don't have a desire to be bums, right? So in being this way, in this type of setting, we realize, dang, I am lacking because these other men are doing exactly or are on a level where I should be, where I desire to be. And feeling like that could be so dark and deep to men. I'm trying to tell you. And as the saying goes, comparison is a thief of joy, but it is also a presenter of awareness. Sometimes when we compare ourselves to other men, we realize and become aware of the things we need to work on ourselves. But that is only if you have a positive mindset. If you already have a negative mindset, if you have low self-esteem, that comparison can destroy a man. So when it comes to men comparing themselves, they may never tell you. They may always keep that private, but they know the truth in themselves that most men, a lot of men, I'll say, compare themselves to other men. Thank y'all for being here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video about the things that men keep private and why. I'll see you on my next video on understanding the mind of good men, decent men. Thank you for being here with your internet cousin, internet brother, internet friend. Peace and blessings. Goodbye.